I've sat here trying to make this video about the River 2 in sort of a scripted way where I go through and I tell you all the features of the device and, you know, with my happy reporter voice on, and it just doesn't work. So instead I'm just going to talk about it. So this is a one-shot wonder. I'm just going to record the video, and however it comes, it's going to come out that way. I just want to make an honest review of the EcoFlow River 2. EcoFlow have sent me the River 2 to test. They haven't paid me to make the video, but I do get to keep the River 2, and I think it's important for you to know that. Now, there are some really great features about this device that I'd like to tell you about. The first one is that they've now changed the battery chemistry over to LFP or LiFePO4. LiFePO4 chemistry is one of the most stable and safest lithium chemistries that's available, and it means that the River 2 should still have about 80% of its battery capacity by the time it gets to 10 years old. Now, that's even with you fully discharging the battery 6 days out of 7 days in a week. So if 6 days a week you fully discharge it and recharge it again, it'll still have 80% of its capacity in 10 years, and that's pretty good. The River 2 also has 4 ways of charging it. Now, if you charge it by mains, it will actually charge from empty to full in only 1 hour, which is, you know, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, most of these units will take quite a while to charge. Another great thing about the mains charger is that you don't need a big power brick, and there is just a mains port on the back of the River 2 that you just plug a normal mains cable into, so you don't have to have a second power brick to carry around with you. There's then a DC charging port on the back of the unit as well, and with this you can either use the cable that's provided that plugs into your cigarette lighter in the car, and that will charge the unit at 8 amps while you're driving, and you can also buy an optional cable which will allow you to connect solar panels to it, or you could use one of EcoFlow's own solar panels which will plug directly into it. There is a fourth way of charging the device, which is the USB-C PD port on the front, as well as outputting USB. You can charge the device through the USB. So say you were somewhere where you were on a train or something like that, and you got the River 2 in your backpack, you would be able to put a USB cable from the USB charging point on the train down into the backpack into the River 2 and charge up the unit while you were driving. So it does have 4 charging methods, and it does have this great battery chemistry, which is awesome. So let's look at how you get power out of the River 2. It has a 100-watt 12-volt DC plug socket. This is the type of thing like a cigarette lighter adapter that you would use in a car. So you can use this for compressors, say you were blowing your wheels up on the car, or if you had a paddleboard or a kayak and inflatable and you wanted to use one of the little 12-volt pumps to blow them up, or an airbed or anything like that. So that 12-volt port is very good for doing things like that with. You also have a 300-watt inverter. Now, 300 watts isn't enough to boil a kettle, you can't run a microwave with it or things like that, but there are a lot of uses that you can use a 300-watt 240-volt adapter for, like charging laptops or charging other devices. And in fact, the van that I'm sitting in at the moment, which is a Volkswagen T6, I brought this to do a self-build on, and when I actually picked it up and brought it back here to the storage facility, I forgot to turn the lights off, so the side lights stayed on. When I came back to the vehicle a couple of days later, it had a flat battery. There was enough to put the lights on the dashboard, but not enough to turn it over. Hadn't got any jump leads, hadn't got a booster pack, but what I had got in my container is I'd got a 10 amp battery charger. So I connected the battery charger up to the car battery, and I actually had the River in the back of the car charging, and I was able to use the River. I ran it for half an hour to put some power back in the battery, and the van started fine. So actually it was a bit of a lifesaver. So you can run lots of different things on a 300-watt inverter. You just can't generally run high power items that heat things, you know, like toasters and kettles and stuff like that. On the front of the device, you've also got 2 USB-A ports for charging and a 60-watt PD port. Now, 60 watt is pretty good and it will charge most things. It's not as good as the 100-watt ports on its bigger brothers, but obviously if you need 100 watt, you would probably buy one of the bigger units anyway. The ergonomic design of the unit is superb. I actually took it to the NEC with me because somebody wanted to have a look at it, one of the distributors who hadn't got one, and I dropped it off to him to have a look at. When I picked it up, I had to walk back to my car, which was actually just over a kilometre because I didn't want to get on the bus, and it was really nice and easy to carry with its ergonomic handle. It's a real light unit. So a couple of other things that are really important about the River 2 is that this unit comes with a 5-year warranty. Now, for the price point, I think it's £269. For £269, you're getting a unit which charges in 4 different ways, has a mains output, has a PD output, has a 12-volt output, that you don't have to carry around a big para brick with, that has a battery chemistry which will still have 80% of its capacity in 10 years if you discharge it 6 times a week. Obviously, if you discharge it only 3 times a week, it'll be 20 years. I just think it's a great little unit for somebody to have. Now, when I first got it, obviously I'm quite a high-end power user, so I've also got the big Delta 2, which is fabulous. And so I couldn't really see the way I was going to use it. And actually, I've used it quite a lot. I pretty much carry it around with me. Here's the unit here now, and as you can see, I'm just going to show you, this is the dashboard of my T6, and it fits absolutely lovely in there, in that slot. Doesn't move around anywhere. So let's go through the front of the device and just have a look at the controls on here. To turn the unit on, you push and hold this button, the little white light comes on. Okay. If you wanted to turn it off, you'd push that button again. But that will only actually turn the display off. If you want to, you see the little white light still flashing. If you actually want to shut the unit all the way down, you push and hold it for a second, it comes up off there, and then it turns off. So let's say we're going to use the unit, we want to use the USB-C, push it, turn it on. These 3 ports are now active as soon as the unit is turned on. If we want to use the AC, we can click on the AC, that will now turn on the inverter. If we want to use the DC socket, we can click on here and it'll come on. Now, this may seem all very similar to other devices that people do, that people make, but one of the other headline features of this device is the fact that it has both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled. Now, where this becomes really important is if you connect this to the Wi-Fi in your home, it can do firmware upgrades. So if there are new features that they want to add to it or anything that they find that needs adjusting on it, they're able to do that through the internet. And there's not many devices that have got that. It also has a Bluetooth app, which I'm going to show you now. So this is the app here, and you can see on there it's mimicking the data that's on the front of there. There are a couple of interesting features in the settings that I really like on this, and I'm going to go through those now for you. So okay, we've now got it charging. You can hear the fan revving up on it. It'll sound a bit louder at the moment because the windscreen's behind it and the fan's on the back of it, but I just want to show you what it sounds like. So let me turn that screen around so I can see what's going on and make sure you can see everything just about. So one thing that I particularly like is when you go into settings, you can go into the AC charging speed, and you might think, well, why would I want to slow that down? Well, imagine you're in a hotel room or even you're on a campsite, and you want to get some sleep, and this is, I mean, it'll only run for an hour anyway, so as long as you plug it in for an hour before bedtime, it'll be done. But you can actually slow down the charging speed, and as you will hear in a second, the fan revs down and turns off. So you can actually have it silent charging by setting what speed that you want it to charge at from here, which I think is a really nice feature. So we can also change the car input. So if your cigarette lighter can't provide 8 amp, you can set it at 6 amps or 4 amps. In fact, what I'm going to do is I am going to set that on low at the moment, because otherwise it's going to be noisy on the video. DC mode, this is for the DC port on the back, and that you can either have it on car recharging, which is where you plug it into the cigarette lighter only, solar recharging, where you plug a solar panel in, or you can set it to auto, which is what most people will do, and it will just switch in between them. On the output side here, we have X-Boost. Now, this is a technology, you can read all about it on EcoFlow's website, and it allows this 300 watt inverter to power higher output devices that have a certain technology, but you will have to have a look at that yourself. It's a bit past the remit of this video to do. You can set the charge and discharge level. One thing about lithium batteries is that if you reduce how far you discharge them and how far up you charge them, you can increase their life. So you could set this to don't discharge below 10%, don't charge above 90%, and that'll increase the life of the lithium battery beyond 10 years. To be honest with you, I think in 10 years technology will have moved so far forward that you probably won't be worried about this device, to be fair. So we also have some timeouts now. We can do unit timeout. So at the moment this is set to never, but like say we set it to 1 hour. After it had been used for 1 hour, it would shut down. We can set the screen timeout, which will mean that the screen will turn off after 5 minutes. We can set the AC timeout, which will turn the inverter off after a certain period of time. And then, as I said, here you can do firmware updates on the device. There's help center specifications, and you can set the temperature units because it monitors its own internal temperature to tell you. But at the moment, with us only, you can see that that's now got a 50 watt input. It's going to take 2 hours and 15 minutes to fully recharge it, and it's at 71%. If we go back into here, do the AC charging speed and turn that right back up again, and then we go back, which is where you'd have it generally, because you'd want it to charge nice and quickly. You can see the AC input is going up, and we're at now 330 watts on the input, and 333, 331, and it's now saying to go from 71% to 100% is going to take just 20 minutes. So you can flatten this overnight, recharge it in just an hour. Now, another thing that this device has is it has an auto switchover. So say I had something plugged into here and it was plugged into mains as well. So I mean, I must point out this isn't a UPS, so it's not like a faultless switchover, but with the talk about blackouts for this winter and us having 3-hour blackouts, having a unit like this that was, say, running your table lamps or something like that, you can leave it plugged in so that it's not using any power, and it's not using the battery, and the power will come out of here. And should the mains get cut off, it will switch over to its batteries in only 30 milliseconds. So that's pretty quick. It's not quick enough, unfortunately, to stop your PC rebooting, but it is enough to allow for your lamp to stay on with only a slight flicker. So, I mean, so that's the app and most of the features that it does. I'll give you a little look around in a minute as to what else is going on here. You can also have multiple devices. So this is my Delta 2 on the app at the moment, and you can see that it's outputting the power for that, but I can turn the inverter off on the Delta 2 and then it'll stop charging the River 2. And as you can see, that's now stopped charging. But if I take this cable here, which if you look down here is connected to the cigarette lighter socket in my van, put it there and turn the ignition on, you will see that it is now charging at 60 watts. And if we just go back into the app again, you'll see that it's showing input 60 watts and it says there USB 60 watt input. So my cigarette lighter socket on my van is actually charging this unit now. So it can be charged through at 8 amps through the cigarette lighter socket directly, or it can be charged through USB, or it can be charged through mains, or it can be charged by solar, which is absolutely brilliant. So just to sum up, the EcoFlow River 2 is the best power bank in its class under 1 kilowatt hour. It has the best battery technology. It has the fastest recharging time. It comes with a 5-year warranty and a 10-year battery life down to 80%. And at £269, to me, that seems like really good value for money. It also has the benefits of not carrying around a large power brick with it. It has the super ergonomic handle. It's lightweight. It has all the features that you want on it to be the type of thing that you really want to carry around in the back of your car for those emergency situations. If you are interested in more information about the River 2 or you're thinking of buying one, I have put a link in the description below to EcoFlow's own Amazon page. That is the best place for you to buy one from if you're in the UK. Click on the link, go through and have a look. The price may be different to the price I've quoted in here, so certainly go and see if it's cheaper. But I don't get any commission from that link. It's not a, it's not an affiliate link of mine, but that is the best place for you to go and buy one from if you want one. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give it a like. If you've got any questions about the River 2, please drop them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them, or any of the other EcoFlow products for that matter. And please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thanks. See you in the next video.